Hey guys, welcome back to Guardrails Green Room. And we are here today with Stephanie and Andrew Rush, and we're talking with you guys a little bit about your story of your journey financially. I know, give me a little snapshot of before Financial Peace University. You guys had just gotten married and you began to say, hey, there's something we got to do.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit.
I would say right when we got married, we kind of had different philosophies on how to handle money, and we weren't really communicating very well about it either. I had my income, she had hers, and we were spending it. It was coming in, we were spending it. You know, we didn't really have any philosophy on how to take care of it. So we, it was more or less we had about $28,000 in debt between student loans and credit cards, and we just needed more or less. We took FPU just to get on the same page as far as how to manage our money. So,
and before FPU, we had a lot of payments, and it would be we would have to pay student loan. We'd have to pay like multiple credit card loans, 2, 3 different credit card loans. We would have just everything was coming out of our account at different times, and it was so stressful to me as the person who was paying the bills, which I kind of like took over as the saver. I was like, what's the other word? Not the free spirit, but the
nerd.
The nerd. There it is. As the nerd, I took over the finances, and I said, okay, I'm going to do all the things. But it was so overwhelming before FPU to have so many payments coming out of our account at one time, where after FPU and really thinking about how we can snowball our debt and really focus on just one thing at a time while making the minimum payments, it just really made it easier, obviously. It made it easier. It was less stressful.
Now, tell me the story of how you decided to go and take Financial Peace University.
go ahead.
Okay. So we had friends that took FPU and were super successful. And we had talked about it multiple times. Maybe for a year, we were like, oh yeah, we'll do that next time. Next time we'll take FPU. Whenever it comes up again, we'll take it. In September of 2019, we signed the kids in for the children's ministry. And the tag printed out, and I looked at it, and our pickup tag letter number combination was FPU. And I was like, okay, Jesus, I don't think you could be any clearer. So that following go-round, we officially signed up for FPU.
That's a pretty clear sign.
I would say so.
So you came together, so you said you had different strategies, philosophies on handling money. So you go into Financial Peace University with this variation of like, okay, you have different views and different strategies. So tell me a little bit about what did you learn in Financial Peace University? How did you get on the same page?
I would say more or less taught us how to budget. I know you like the envelopes. We tried them. They don't work. They don't work for us. We don't deal with cash. If I have cash, I spend it.
Yeah.
So I like to keep it, even though a card is easy to swipe and whatnot, but I'm able to manage it a little bit better with a card. So what we learned in Financial Peace was more or less how to split up those monies and how to make it so it worked for us rather than against us. And actually, the first or second class, so like they actually make you write everything down, and you can actually look at it in number form and be like, all right, here it is, because nobody actually wants to write down their debt. You know what I mean? And actually look at it, and we were required to do that and have it stare at us in the face. We'd be like, all right, this is what we got. This is how we're going to do this. And we were able to kind of attack it one by one, and we were on the same page with it. That's really what it was. It was like our philosophies weren't bad. It was just more or less we weren't saving because we weren't having the same philosophy. You know what I mean? So we just needed to get on the same page and attack the debt. And I would say that's the biggest thing we learned just in the first couple of weeks, was just how to lay out that budget and how to use it appropriately for us. Yeah.
And FPU really helped us because we never really had a conversation about all of the debt. We knew we had student loans, we knew we had credit cards, but the two of us never sat down and straight up laid it out. And so FPU really forced us to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a conversation we didn't want to have. It's just not a conversation that we knew we had to have.
I didn't want to have it.
Yeah.
No.
And then FPU with the budgeting in the second class, you're really telling your money where to go. And we got to sit down and look and realize, do we really need this subscription and this subscription? No, probably not. Do I really need to spend this much at the grocery store? Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I still spend too much at the grocery store, but
It's in the budget, though.
it's in the budget now.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So one of the things you just pointed out, and I mentioned that in one of the messages, is that, 80% of all divorces have as a primary cofactor of the problems in the home was finances. And kind of going a level deeper than that is that frequently couples attack each other rather than attacking the problem. And what you said was so critical. As you said, we wrote it down, we both looked at it, and we decided we're going to tackle these issues. And that requires a significant amount of communication and teamwork. And so would you say that you guys are pretty much wired exactly the same, and so it's easy to just negotiate
Absolutely
all
not.
that?
No.
I am the saver.
Yeah, I'm the free spirit. I basically spend everything I have regularly.
I will say, when we started doing the budget, I was like, this is your spending money and you get no more.
Yeah.
And 3 days later, he was like, I'm out of money.
Yep. And I do go over it regularly, but it's more of like,
Now, without using cash, how are you running out of money?
so Ramsey has an app. It's called Every Dollar.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what we use. So we use Every Dollar, and Every Dollar it's great. It's a subscription. It's like $100.
$27.
Yeah.
$127.95.
Per year. Okay, so we pay for
the
that.
nerd just said.
Yeah. But that allows us, it's really cool because that allows us to lay everything out. You can actually create budgets and create funds within it. So if you have to
Yep.
pay your insurance every 6 months, which we do, it's $600 or $700 every 6 months, and we're able to put money away, even though it's all in one big account. We're able to budget that, and it basically we look at our savings, and our savings number should match the amount of number that we have towards funds or towards emergency funds or things like that. So it's linked to our bank account. So every time we make a purchase, the transaction shows up on the app, and she's able to see it.
Every single
Yeah,
transaction
she's able to see
shows
it.
up.
I'm able to see it, and then you kind of just drag it into whatever. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really
But
cool.
I will say that for our spending money, we have Cash App cards. And so I'm not sure if you're familiar or if anyone else is familiar with Cash App, but we actually have a specific debit card that automatically on the first of every month, our exact amount of spending money gets transferred to this specific debit card. And so if I want to eat out on Fridays, I make sure that I pay with my Cash App card. He doesn't know what I spend my money on. I don't know what he spends his spending money on. You get your amount, and that's what you spend it on. And when your specific account or your card is at zero, it's at zero.
Wow. I can't tell you how much I love this because you guys have figured out how to do money my way. But you're still using the same principles. You're using the principles of this is how much needs to be in each category, but you're using some of the cool apps to be able to do that. Now, Ramsey did not have an app when the first time I took Financial Peace, and I've been through it 3 times.
Yeah.
And so he didn't even have that. In fact, he didn't even have envelopes the first time. Later, he decided to sell you envelopes. I realized that it's
just
silly to buy someone else's envelopes when you can literally get some at the office store. And I'm old school. I've been using the same envelopes, now for 15 some odd years. But so it's old school. But I love that you've been able to say, let's use the tools and fit to who we are, but you're still using exactly the same principles. So you still use that app.
Yep.
What's it called? Tell me again.
It's a Ramsey app. It's on their website, and it's called Every Dollar.
Okay, cool. And I have heard people say that they really like that. So.
It's a zero budgeting tool. It's literally tells you how much money you have left in the budget.
It tracks all your income, tracks all of your expenses. And I feel like it's an expensive subscription. But when we look at it and say, oh, for $127, I know exactly where my money is going.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
So you started into this, kind of writing it all down and then staring in the face, and that number was like 28,000 some odd. And so tell me the process you went about to kind of begin hacking away at this thing and saying, we're going to attack this issue.
So according to Ramsey's plan, you always attack the smallest one first, and you kind of snowball it as you go. That's essentially what we did. There was more things that were a little more urgent to us to get off. So like, for instance, the credit card debt, like I wanted to get off right away because the interest rates were high and things like that. So we snowballed the credit card right away, and then we just started chipping away at the student loans. But what was cool was that because of snowballing, we were able to say, all right, so we were making $120. We literally took all of our extra money, put it towards the credit cards, and then once those were paid off, we snowballed it. So there were some months we were making $500-$600, even more payments on student loan debt, and we're able to get rid of that pretty quickly. So that was the first call of action, as we went ahead and just snowballed all of that together. Obviously, I think Ramsey would even say the higher interest rates ones like credit cards, you attack those first because they're going to get you, So we
Now-
attack that first.
So if anyone doesn't know what snowballing is, it's where you make your minimum payments, but you put your extra money towards the lowest, and then once that one's gone, you take everything that you paid on that first one and then continue. So like a snowball coming down the mountain, it gains momentum, it gains speed. So your payments, as they're rolling on, you're paying more and more and more towards your debt.
Yeah.
And then, it might take you, 5 months to pay off your first credit card, but then you're taking all of that and you can pay them off faster, just in case for non-FPU people.
No, that's very good. And also, I think sometimes people get sucked into the idea that we should consolidate our loan, and it sounds so great because I'm going to consolidate all this debt into one thing, and I'm going to lower my interest, and it's all going to work out. But you're still not hitting the root. You're not hitting the root issue of how did you get this debt, and what are you going to do to attack this debt. So you guys started, really, really focusing and attacking the debt. How long did it take you to, finally chip away at that? What were the results?
7 months.
7 months.
We paid off all of our credit card, all of our student loan, everything except for the car payment was gone in 7 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. How did that feel?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's like so much less stress because managing 5 or 6 separate payments all in 1 month and finally being able to say, okay, I don't have to worry about this student loan. I got $200 coming out now. I got $50 coming out this time. I have 2 payments.
Yeah.
I've got mortgage and car, which is
That's it.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it really freed us up because when Eric was little, looking at our finances, and I would have to text daycare and say, "Hey, I can't pay you until the check clears. Like once my paycheck comes in, I'll pay daycare. I promise." And that was humiliating. No one wants to send that text, but now we can afford to send him to private school and not have to move something around or pull out a different loan to be able to do this. It's so freeing.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I think FPU has done for us too, is that it has taught us how to budget and how to plan for things as well. So another aspect of this is that we always talk about debt, but the other aspect of this is that we have actually put about $30,000 worth of upgrades into our house as well. So between new HVAC, new roof, new kitchen, new flooring, we've been able to budget and save for these things.
None of it was financed.
None of it was financed. We paid cash for everything. So we were able to budget and save for those things because we learned these tools and applied these tools to our life.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So good.
That's pretty cool. How about savings? How's that coming along? So they say you're supposed to do 3 to 6 months of savings, and after you start with emergency fund, $1,000, and then build towards. So how's that going?
It's going.
We're a work in progress.
Yeah. So as I said, we've been upgrading our house because we are looking to upgrade to a larger house at some point. So we've been really dumping money into the house. So our savings, our savings has dwindled a little bit. I would say that we are somewhere we have about maybe 2 months of savings that we could get through. You know what I mean? But it's still, $10,000 here, $10,000 there. It takes a hit. But we're a work in progress, and we still have these tools that we're using. It's just we have large things that we're also working on as well. You know what I mean? So
we know Ramsey would say, if you've got the money, use what you've got. Don't take out a loan.
Yeah.
So we've never cut our emergency fund. We've always had the emergency fund.
Mm-hmm.
We've just added to it to our 3 to 6 months. But then, oh no, something's come up, and we don't have to stress.
not all those upgrades are planned.
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I'm in exactly the same boat, and I've done that, over the last 5 years, I would build up, and then I would need money, and then I would, spend that money, and so I've done that over and over and over. But keeping that consistent goal to go, okay, I spent that, but now I need to take a, take a pause and get back to, building back the savings up, because it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
The next major expense is coming down the road.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a homeowner, it's an absolute. Something is going to come down the road and hit you. So it sounds like you've worked the principles pretty strong. Did you take the quiz?
Yeah. I did.
I
did.
I'm terrible at those.
The nerd took the quiz.
I took the quiz.
Did you tell the free spirit how you did?
She's got to send me a link, and then I'll take it.
Okay.
I mean, we would get the same score.
Yeah.
We got
Maybe.
an 81.
Maybe made it out. I don't know.
We get the same score.
How'd you do?
We got an 81.
That's
There's
pretty-
always room for growth. It's the
That's
car
really
payment.
good.
It's the car payment.
81 is good.
Yeah.
I think, I know a lot of our staff took it and there was a lot of groaning in the room. But at the end of the day, it is, finances is an organic thing because every year you're moving in different stages of life. You have children. All of a sudden, your life is changing and evolving constantly. So I would say, if you're scoring in a B level, next year looking at it again, I think that's pretty good. And because it is a work in progress, and you're
Yep.
still pretty young.
Yep.
So, now, have you taken Financial Peace University just once, or have you done it more than once?
Just once.
Just once.
Yeah.
Now, how long ago was that?
2020.
Was it
2019.
2019.
Well,
Yeah, it was
it
2019.
it was in January of 2020.
Okay.
Okay.
I
So
don't know.
not very long.
Not
ago.
very long ago,
Okay.
no.
So anything you would tell someone who's kind of starting in this journey, they have like $20,000, $30,000 worth of debt, they're feeling extremely discouraged. What would you say to them?
I would say you got to write it all out. It's going to be extremely scary depending on what you have. You know what I mean? But you got to write it all out and you got to face it. And if you have a spouse, make sure they're on the same page because if you guys are fighting each other, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? So you can have a philosophy of one way of doing things, and if you can take the class together, that's the best way to do it. But I would say start with the smallest thing because once you have the ability to, even if it's like a $300 debt, if you could pay that $300 debt in a few months or a couple months, that's a great feeling. And then you just move it on. You know what I mean? So it builds momentum fast, and you'll feel great about it once you start to get rid of it. So,
What are your thoughts?
yeah.
That it's okay to not be okay. Money is hard, life is hard, and you might take 2 steps forward and then take 1 step back, but it's still in the grand scheme of things, even though you feel like you're falling back, it's still 1 step forward.
Yeah.
And a little victory is still a victory, but it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
Did that a lot.
Even with the security, you having the security fund, I mean, there was times that we had to use it, you know what I mean? Because something would happen. But the thing is, it's a great feeling when something does happen and you're able to look at that and be like, oh, I got this.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? So
How cool that you didn't have to pull out a credit card.
Right.
That's a
we don't
really
even have
good
credit
feeling.
cards.
Nope.
Like we don't even have a credit card anymore. So
Super cool.
Yeah.
One of my envelopes is car repair. So it's so fun to be able to go there and they hit me with this, terrible expense and you're like, okay.
yeah, it is
you
what
just
it
pull
is.
it out and you go,
Yep.
oh, well,
You plan
I've
for
got
it,
it.
sort
but
of.
I didn't have to put it on credit, and it's just so beautiful. And it didn't hit the savings. So,
Yep.
So for me, that's a little bit of the savings is over here in envelopes,
Yep.
but it's the same principle.
Yeah.
Being able to pay with cash. Cash is king, especially when inflation is hitting and things are getting bad. Andrew, Stephanie, thanks so much for coming and talking and sharing a little bit of your
Yeah.
story. And being honest and opening up, I think that's going to help a lot of people because the truth is we're all in this together. Everyone has to do money management. All of us are still learning, and no matter how much you think you've got down, life is just around the corner. Something new is going to hit you, and these principles help you in every phase, every single stage. We'll
Yep.
see you next time, guys.